My question when it comes to religion is that there are so many different religions out there, and every religion believes that they are right. And so in virtue of that,
not necessarily.
I tend to think that how do you know which one is the correct one if there are so many out there?
Well, there are a lot of different theories of physics, right? And they contradict one another. So how do you know which one is right? There are a lot of different theories of evolution. And if you're inclined to, be really gung-ho about evolution, well, which one do you think is right? Is it Darwin? Is it Lamarck? Is it some newer strand of either of those? You use your reason, and you separate fact from fiction, and you believe the more persuasive arguments, and you throw out the less persuasive arguments. And that's what you do with religion when it comes to theology. Theology is faith-seeking understanding. So it's applying logic and the rigors of reason to religious claims. And religion is just simply a habit of virtue that inclines the will to give to God what he deserves. So we talk about multiple religions, but there's really only one religion. And we're all just trying to figure out what it is.
But do you believe that other sects of that religion are incorrect or
I don't believe in
worse?
sex before marriage, if that's what you know. I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think that's the true faith. So in as much as a religion contradicts that, I think that religion is wrong. Of course, but that's just Aristotle's non-contradiction principle, right? You can't simultaneously believe things that are in opposition. I think even the most atheistic person would say that certain religions seem more plausible than other religions. What would be a good example of this without offending a wide swath of the audience? Most people out there would say that Christianity is more plausible than Scientology. Right? Why? Well, because Scientology makes all these crazy claims about machines and technology. Okay. Like space aliens. Right? Okay. Well, kind of actually the claims are you guys Scientologists? Mm-hmm. You are. I had a feeling. Okay. A bad example then. So we would say that, okay, well, if Christianity is more persuasive than Scientology, then, okay, you've just dismissed one of the religions. Well, how about the other ones? Do you think it's more persuasive than Islam? I do. I think that the historical claims of and the theological claims of Christianity are more persuasive than Islam. Okay, we got rid of that one. How about Judaism? I have great respect for my Jewish friends and my Muslim friends and even Scientologists, some of them. But Judaism says Jesus is not who he says he is. Christianity says Jesus is who he says he is. Well, I don't know. What is it? And then one investigates this question, and I've arrived at the conclusion that he is who he says he is. Okay, so there goes that religion. How about Buddhism? Well, all the Buddhists I know are just like liberal women in northern Westchester who wear tight pants and, meditate during this. So they're not right about anything. I can easily dismiss that religion. How about Hinduism? Some of my best friends are Hindus. But that's a non-theistic religion. So that's a pretty easy one to reject off the bat because it contradicts plenty of logic and conclusions I've already come to about the nature of being and who created everything. Okay, well, I think we've just handily gotten rid of all the other religions, right? Now you might say, well, there's a lot of different sects of Christianity. That's true. I just think that the historical claims and the theological claims of the church go back to antiquity. They're well attested to over 2,000 years. And so that's how I landed on that one. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you come to a different one. But at the very least, we've landed roughly in the neighborhood of one another here. We don't just have to throw up our hands and say, well, Johnny says this and Jack says that. So who the hell knows? Everyone can believe whatever they want. Let's not try to arrive at any.
Why did you become religious?
I was persuaded of it. I was an atheist for 10 years, but that view just is not tenable.
What about it?
Well, it doesn't explain anything.
Why do you need things explained?
Because I'm a rational person.
But how does it not
curious?
How does it not explain certain things? I feel like just by chance is an explanation, right?
How does the chance come about? How does anything come about?
It just that's the nature of, I feel like, just chance.
One could discuss chance and probability and stochastic systems or whatever, but that you can only do that within the context of a created world, right? You can only do that within the context of I'm a human being with a brain, I think with faculties of reason, on planet Earth, within a universe. And so at a certain point, you have to ask, well, how did all of that come about? And there are plenty of ways to do it. You can ask how anything is in motion. An object is in motion when some other object puts it in motion. Well, what happens when you go all the way back down the line? You need to have an unmoved mover. How are how do effects come about? I smack you across the face. I would never do such a thing because I'm a lover, not a fighter. But then you would have a little red mark on your face. That's an effect, and the cause was my slap. Well, why did I slap you? I don't know, because I drank too much coffee this morning. Well, that was the cause, and the effect was my irritability. Well, where did the coffee come from? You go all the way back down the line of causes. There has to be an uncaused cause, doesn't there? Perfectibility, the fact that some things are better than other things, the fact that we would all agree, even if you're like a nice, happy, skeptical person, we all agree that it's better to help a little old lady cross the street than it is to kick a newborn baby in the head, right? I think we would all agree with that. Okay, well, if some things are better than other things, then there has to be a maximally great thing, traditionally called a summum bonum. Well, who is that maximally great thing? That would be God. There are many other arguments too. I mean, that's just a handful off the top of my head, but those observations necessarily entail coming to the conclusion that atheism is just like Reddit tier 2006 bunk.
What prompted that, though? There's got to be an event that happened that made you think, that pushed you in that direction.
I met smart people, I guess. I mean, this really started my freshman year of college. And I diss my college sometimes because it's kind of super liberal and gone completely off the rails. But there are a lot of intelligent people at it. A lot of them were atheists, no question about it. I noticed the very smartest people were religious. And they presented me with arguments, we're just having little debates and things. They were challenging my thinking, and I didn't have an answer for the arguments that they were making. And so if you have any kind of humility at all, then you have to say, you never do it in the moment. You never say, yeah, you're totally right, man. I can see the debate. In the moment, you say, you're totally wrong. You're a big jerk, whatever. But then you go home, and if you have any humility whatsoever, you think about it. You say, yeah, I guess that guy was right. I guess I did lose that debate. And then once you do that, for long enough, you come to the correct conclusions, hopefully.
Was your wife on board with the decision to go in a certain way for a religion?
She was freaked out by it. She was freaked out. Because look, we grew up in a big agnostic, liberal New York place. Everyone was functionally an atheist anyway. Whatever their nominal, some people were nominally Jews, some people were nominally Catholics, but basically everyone was a practical atheist, a liberal, really. I mean, they believed what you articulated at the beginning, which is, you do you, leave it alone. We can't really know anything. I don't know, whatever, And I don't mean to diss it. I don't mean to be dismissive in any way. That is the zeitgeist, man. That is the culture we're living in. But as a result of that, when I came around and I said, hey, this might freak you out, but I think God exists. It's so fun. It's so funny. This is the thing that virtually everyone believed for all of human history. But now if you say it's kind of like, it's a little radical. And I said, look, I'm going to go to Mass this weekend. I'm going to go to church. You don't have to come, but I'm just going to go because I think I should. I said, okay. And she kind of, she went with me just to she was freaked out, man. She became less freaked out over time, obviously. We were married in the church and everything, but it can be very jarring. I mean, this is why I keep coming back to liberalism, because I don't mean it in the own the libs way. I mean it in the recognize the air that you're moving in way. We live in a liberal age where all the premises of liberalism are just what we believe. We don't even think about it. And it's not our fault. We don't, you don't wake up every day and write a 5-page report on whether you're going to have waffles or pancakes for breakfast. You just do things, we are animals of prejudice, and we just kind of go about our habits, right? But when you start to pull at that thread, and this is why, to bring us all the way back full circle, this is why the trans issue keeps coming up. Because the trans issue is it's so absurd. Everybody knows a man in a dress is not really a woman. But it's also the logical conclusion of liberalism. It's also the logical conclusion of radical self-sovereignty. It's also the radical conclusion of, I'm going to make my own reality. I'm going to have my own truth. And so once you pull at that thread, you can't stop pulling. The whole thing starts to unravel. So you say, okay, yeah, we shouldn't trans the kids. We shouldn't really trans anybody. Actually, men and women are different, which means that marriage is what it used to mean, not what people say it means now, which means that feminism is kind of bunk too, which means that liberalism is kind of bunk too, which means we're actually not radical individuals. We don't make ourselves. Oh my goodness gracious. The last 500 years has been a total series of errors.
What if your wife did not want to convert with you? What if she says, I disagree with you. You could have your religion. I don't see the things the same way. I can't do that. Would that be a deal breaker for you?
No, it wouldn't be a deal breaker at first, because I'm what the late conservative writer William F. Buckley called an epistemological optimist. Meaning, it's a very unfortunate and pretentious phrase, but it means that I think we can know things. And I'm confident in the rational faculties of my loved ones, not just my wife, but people like my good friends too. And so I'm confident that if something is true, and that I think it's true, and I'm a relatively persuasive person, I think, that I'll be able to persuade them of that.